What's good, listeners? How are you? Welcome to another episode of Sneaks, Rhymes, and Life. It is Lionel McDonald, your host. A very interesting week of hip hop that brought me to kind of jump on and kind of talk about a few things. Um, it's been wild, to say the least. It's been totally wild of what's happened and what's out there. A special release date that I hopefully both artists can deliver. We've already seen that, first off the hop, Nas were talked about earlier last week that, his Grammy award winning album, King Disease, that he did with Hit Boy. And again, that's Nas's first Grammy, but he is also going to record second follow-up to that album, King's Disease 2. And it's going to launch on August 6th, which is actually today. So I haven't dove into the album tremendously. I have heard a few songs. I definitely like the EPMD song. EPMD 2, we heard an EPMD original track that was floated out there shortly after King Disease released. And he talks about EPMD in a very unique style. And then I think now we get King's Disease 2 and EPMD 2. But the unusual that we actually got EPMD on a track with Nas, and then Eminem is on the track as well. It's totally crazy. So you haven't got a chance to hear it, you definitely got to check it out. Um, Definitely a recommended, and I'm sure people will be bumping this the balance of the summer like we did King's Disease, the original version last year. But flip it over to the other album that we're waiting, and so I'm wearing a St. Pablo t-shirt, so that means Kanye West is up to something. So the long-awaited Donda album is supposed to release today. It's been delayed. There's been lots of talk about this album and what's happening. We know that Kanye went back, and I think it's Mercedes-Benz Stadium where the Atlanta Falcons play. Went in there to remaster and rework it, and he locked himself in there, and he wasn't coming out until it's done. Well, there's been some live performances, including last night. His wife was in the building along with some of the other Kardashians. I definitely know Chloe was there. And he's like, doing like it was a live stream. I didn't see it last night with all the other things that are happening, but yeah, a live stream. And unfortunately, Kanye to at this moment, and we're it's the early morning of the 6th of August, 2021, but we still haven't seen the album. Nas's album came out right away. Still have not seen Kanye's album. Now we did have some issues with Yeezus or sorry, it was Ye. That was the album that we had issues that it was delayed when he did multiple projects for many others, including Nas, and that album was also delayed. So hopefully Kanye doesn't keep us waiting too much longer. I know all of his fans, and myself included, will love to hear this album and get it out to the masses. It was even some drama last night. He performed Unconditional Love, which is apparently a song on the album, and he literally was singing it directly to Kim, who was in attendance. So some interesting times, and I know I did a previous episode to see if they'd ever figure things out, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Fast forward, and I know this has been on the pressure cooker, and in the last week, I don't know if I would ever have called it a friendship, a partnership between Lupe Fiasco and Royce the 5'9" was in a good space. They are working on their own podcasts. These are two incredibly talented MCs. Royce the 5'9" is from Detroit, and we also know that Lupe, with his smash single "Kick Push" from we're talking almost 15 years since that song came out, but it is a tremendous track, and he's a tremendous artist, both freestyle and also written. they were working together. Things were good. They had a podcast. There was, a competitive spirit there. And then all of a sudden, Royce got talking to another artist called Mickey Fax, and they kind of were going back and forth. And, then there was a call on, I think it was on IG not too long ago, about 2 weeks ago. And, Royce felt disrespected by Lupe, and Lupe says, "Hey, let's jump in the ring. Let's talk. We're good, but if we want to joust, let's joust lyrically, and we can freestyle." Royce was not down. Fast forward, all of a sudden, Lupe starts, sending some loose bars real quick on a IG live, and then he created, it woke up Lupe, and all of a sudden he created a song, and really got at Royce the 5'9". Royce then returned fire, and now these guys are enemies. The podcast is over now. They cannot work together. I think the first track was Steve Jobs, and then Silence of the Lambda was the Return Fire song. Mickey Faxet was kind of wrapped up in all of this. He definitely got he came out with a song last week called Wrath, and he literally destroys Royce the 5'9", and then obviously on top of that, then it's really woken up Lupe's writing and wanting to get back in the studio and record songs. He literally has put out 4 new songs. We haven't heard him in a good period of time, and now he's got 4 songs. I love the one Whale Wit. It's crazy how he goes in. He's talking about Royce. So it's funny how rap beef kind of gets people going and gets people thinking about things. So don't think these guys are ever going to come to a truce or work it out. Like they ain't from the same camp. This is not, 2 guys in Slaughterhouse or 2 guys, that have like a significant history that have done albums together. And it would have been great if these guys, the podcast led to a collaboration like, Royce did with, a little bit with Primo on Prime 1 and 2. And that's what I was hoping. It's like, a Royce and Lupe album would be crazy dope, would be amazing. But we'll have to wait and see how this podcast pans out. And fortunately, it went down the rabbit hole. There is no coming back now, and that's that. So I think the last big hip hop thing, and I know there's other things out there, but the last one I want to cover is the Senate just passed a bill. I think it's called Resolution 331 that now signifies next week, August 11th, is Hip Hop Day. We'd already had worked on talking about hip hop. Hip hop essentially is this year 48 years old. It's going to be 48 years old, and again, hip hop started in the Bronx with Kool Herc spinning in the park, and that was the birth. And it's totally amazing that now hip hop is actually going to have its own day. They've also deemed that August is Hip Hop Recognition Month. So I know I kind of jumped in last week, and I definitely jumped in now this week to kind of talk about it. But I have some sneaker stuff to talk about, obviously, as I kind of balance all the things that Sneaks, Rhymes, and Life is. But I definitely will have a definite hip hop focus this month as well. So, and then November is Hip Hop History Month. So when we roll around till November, I definitely will be talking about a lot of hip hop stuff. They broke ground on the Hip Hop Museum in last month in July, or that might have been late June. But there's actually going to be a hip hop museum in the Bronx that will open at some point in 2022. So it's pretty amazing. But hip hop is always interesting. There's so many other things that are going on. I heard Timberland is they might release his and Timberland Magoo along with Aaliyah's catalog. the owner of it is eventually going to put it on Spotify. So that's breaking news because we haven't been able to get at those joints. But a lot of things happening in hip hop. Hopefully, you guys continue to enjoy the podcast. Appreciate all the support. And we'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.